Well, we want to welcome Kathy Woodward. Kathy Woodward is a friend to the pro-life movement here in Northwest Ohio and Southeastern Michigan. She is the former chairwoman of Greater Toledo Pregnancy Center, now Bella Vita, and she's been involved in Foundation for Life and many pro-life causes in the area. And she's also not only involved in those causes, she's also a great friend to Virginia and I, and we are thrilled to have her with us.
Yes, we are. So, Kathy, welcome.
Thank you.
Please share a little bit about yourself and how you are involved with pro-life issues.
You know, my involvement with pro-life really began about 40 years ago. My brother was a producer for the Francis Schaeffer series, How Shall We Then Live, I think it was. And that really piqued the interest of myself and my husband. And ever since then, in various times, in various ways, that's been a part of our lives.
And so I know that you're, you work alongside Foundation for Life and the Greater Toledo Right to Life. Is that correct?
Right.
All right. And then you're here today to talk with us about Issue 1.
Right.
And maybe share a little bit about what's on your heart.
You know, Issue 1, if passed, would be the most radical pro-abortion issue in the country. It would essentially legalize abortion for all 9 months and make it extremely difficult, if not impossible, for the Ohio legislature to pass legislation to protect the women undergoing abortion, to protect minor children, and of course to protect the unborn.
Now, Kathy, when you say legal, that means something more to you because you are a retired lawyer with Shoemaker, Loop, and Kendrick of Toledo, Ohio. But how would you talk to people about legally what this is going to do if it passes, and kind of what is the sinister nature of the authors of this this amendment to the Ohio Constitution, which we're all being asked to vote on November 2nd, just this next Tuesday?
That's right. It's terrifically important because to enshrine abortion in the Constitution means that every law related to that topic has to stand constitutional muster. And if this constitutional amendment, as radical as it is, passes, it will be almost impossible to limit it in any way in Ohio. I think another really sinister thing is that this is phrased in terms of reproductive rights, and that surpasses abortion, because what's more fundamental than reproductive rights than your gender? So this amendment would legalize gender transition treatment, including surgery, therapy, for individuals, as the amendment states, of all ages, with no protection for minors.
Well, we could actually take a look at some of that wording, because I believe we have a graphic right now, and so then that way you can, point out to our viewers, hey, this is what it says. It's very vague, and give us a little more clarity.
Right. Yeah. Take a look at on the right-hand side there, the first line, Article 1, Section 2. They call it the right to reproductive freedom with protections built in. Well, there aren't any protections built in, but look at that first line. Every individual, not every adult. Individuals include minors.
Could be a teenager.
Right, a teenager, right. And as far as the gender transition, a 5-year-old can be coerced into that.
Which is just crazy.
Which is just crazy. Again, reproductive rights. Nowhere in that amendment will you find the word woman or girl. They talk about individual, they talk about patient. Isn't that a little odd?
That is a little odd, because then they want to open the door for that whole gender transition and drugs that could even be given to minors as well.
Right. And this is really a very well-written amendment to accomplish what it wants to accomplish, because words like individual, you get down a little bit farther, they talk about the state not being able to directly or indirectly burden, penalize, prohibit, or interfere with this right. Those are legally tested words that have meaning to courts, that have been used to strike down parental consent laws, to strike down 24-hour waiting period laws, things that protect women against being coerced into abortion. And there is at least one public poll that says it could be as many as 60% of the women who undergo abortion are coerced into it.
Wow.
And furthermore, it says that any person or entity that assists in an abortion is protected under the Constitution. People who object to it are not. So a parent who tries to prevent an abortion done on his or her minor child can be prosecuted, but the abuser, the sex trafficker who takes her for the abortion is protected by the Constitution.
Which is really sad, you know, because the other side tries to say, oh, we're protecting family rights.
Right.
But really, it's taking away parental rights. And
Right.
that's why we see on all the signs out there that say, vote no, it says protect parental rights.
Right.
And so, you know, a lot of people just don't understand the impact, the lasting impact this can have.
Right. And to me, the protection of the rights of those parents, that's reason enough
Right.
to shoot this down.
And even, you know, as you're laying this out there for us, what I just thought about the fact is if you raise an objection, even as a parent, you could be, you know, you could be found criminally negligent because
Very possibly.
Yeah, because you raised your hand and said, daughters, I don't believe you should have an abortion. You know, there would be whole groups that would come alongside and say, well, we need to silence the voice of your parent or any voice that is out there that is trying to, you know, trying to stop abortion.
Right. Another one is, you know, this says you have the right to make and carry out your reproductive decisions, including but not limited to this list. Okay, contraception, fertility treatment, continuing your pregnancy, miscarriage care. What's that doing in there? Nobody's ever objected to miscarriage care. Nobody ever will. And abortion, which means unregulated abortion. And again, notice that says, it does not say the state shall not unduly burden. It says the state shall not burden this right. That has legal significance.
And so what is the significance there?
The fact that there is no qualifier. Anything that burdens an abortion can extend to finances. Laws that are written like this have been interpreted by courts already as to require the state funding of abortion. State funding equals taxpayer funding. We could be required to pay for Medicaid abortions under wording like this. There seems to be a curb on abortion when it says in Section 3, abortion may be prohibited after fetal viability. But look at the standard. But in no case can it be prohibited if in the professional judgment of the pregnant patient's treating physician, who is the abortionist, it's necessary to protect the patient's life or health. Now, health is not defined, and we have cases already on the books where health was not defined, and it is defined so broadly as to include anything that affects a woman's mental health, physical health, financial, familial, social. Woman says, you know, I'm not ready for this. That's affecting her health. I can't take care of my other children as effectively. That is familial health. So virtually any cause can allow the abortionist, who is the treating physician, to say, no, this abortion has to go forward. It affects this person, this individual's health.
And we know often it's the abortionist who is making a lot of money off of this.
They have
you
a
know,
financial
abortion.
interest in this.
That's right.
Do you really think they're going to say, this abortion should not go forward? Please, follow
Right.
the money.
And that's why we know that this opens the door to those late-term abortions.
Yes.
And, you know, even up until the time of birth, which is just so scary that this could be legal in Ohio 30 days after we vote on November 7th.
Even if people are for abortion, there's something about, you know, thinking about a baby that we know feels pain, undergoing that pain in those late-term abortions, that ought to put a stop to it.
That's right. We need to put a stop to it, so we need to all use our voice and go to the polls, which is, next Tuesday, November 7th, and there's still, people can still early vote. So we want to encourage everyone to get out there and use their voice.
Right.
Vote no on issue 1.
That's right.
Vote no.
That's right.
Right. Run as far as you can, as fast as you can, away from issue 1. Vote no.
That's right. Well, thank you, Kathy. We appreciate you coming out. Is there any last word that you would like to give to our viewers?
Other than the vote no?
Well, we certainly appreciate you, letting or informing our viewers.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the fact that you've used your legal expertise to help us understand issue 1 from a legal perspective. And it is very vague and it is very dangerous to
It's well written for what they want to do.
Every Ohioan.
Yeah.
Every Ohioan.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a little commercial we want to show you that deals with issue 1. Let's take a look at that now.
For almost 100 years, the United States Supreme Court has recognized the traditional role of parents in directing the custody and care of their minor children.
Radical outside groups are attempting to erase Ohio parental rights.
This is an anti-parent amendment, as it removes my consent for my child.
Parents, if you want to be involved in what could be the biggest decision of your child's life, then on November 7th, vote no on this anti-parent amendment.